everybody, welcome. I am so honoured to be here speaking to you amazing people today. My name's Michelle Stonhill and I'm super excited to share with you today the topic of financial mastery, because that's a topic that's really close to my heart. Now, I'm a network marketing professional, but I'm also a women's wealth strategist and a coach to female entrepreneurs. And my speciality is two things, because I recognised that super successful people have two things in common, and that's an unstoppable money mindset and a financial education. Now, the reason that I embarked on this journey as a women's wealth strategist and the subject of financial mastery and kind of made that my thing was really because of personal struggle. So when I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to make my own way and make my own money and be independent, I had no idea where to start. And someone gave me a piece of advice when I was starting out, and they said, Michelle, you need to identify a challenge. You need to identify something that's a common problem for you and other people, solve it, and then help other people to do the same. The only way to real significant wealth is to help lots and lots of people, because then you don't just have a full bank balance, but you have a full heart as well. And that really stayed with me. And I thought, but what is this thing? What challenge can I identify that I can help other people with? And I scratched my head on that for a really long time. But the crazy thing is, it was staring me in the face the entire time. It was money. That was my biggest challenge and had been ever since I could remember. So looking back, I now know that my money challenges actually started when I was just a little girl, before I was even old enough to make my own money, because I'd already started to form beliefs and ideas about what it meant to be wealthy and have money. And we form those beliefs from things that are said around us, from our role models when we're growing up. And I can now see that that really impacted the first half of my working life up until this point in the way I pursued finances and the way I pursued wealth and money, because I was a little bit like Robert Kiyosaki. For any of you that have read his books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I had two dads. I had one wonderful male role model, which was actually my granddad, but he was more like my dad because we did everything together. He was the person that played with me for hours and hours and hours, had so much patience. All my happy memories are with my granddad in them. He had the best morals, values, just a really good human. And he taught me a lot of really important things, like the fact that there are more important things out there than money, you know, your health, your family, being a good person. And he was right about all of those things. But he completely rejected the idea of being rich, completely rejected it. In fact, he thought that rich people were unhappy. He thought they were in some way selfish and had their priorities wrong. And he'd say things like, money's the root of all evil. Money doesn't make you happy. He'd look at the price tags on things and go, how much? It wouldn't have cost that in my day. And then go on and on about how expensive things were these days. Now my dad, my second dad, if you like, my actual biological father, was the opposite in every way to my granddad. He was quite abusive. He was a drunk. He put me, my mum and my sister through a lot of stuff, and he found it very difficult to show his emotions and show love, and he's a very angry man. But he was an entrepreneur, and he had a lot of really good advice to give around finances, like don't work for somebody else, that's not the route to success. Make sure you work for yourself, you get savvy, you understand money, and all of the things that he tried to instill into me as a child. I completely resisted and rejected all of them. Because in my mind as a child, if I pursued that path to wealth and becoming an entrepreneur, I would be more like my dad and less like my granddad. And that was the last thing I wanted. So of course, when it came to me going to work and decided what I wanted to do with my life, I wasn't looking at careers and businesses that were going to make me wealthy. My main driving force was being like my granddad, not spending too many hours working, spending time with my family and doing exactly what he'd done. And that served me so far, but it didn't serve me in my bank balance because I was always broke. Now that was because I'd got some deep-rooted money mindset issues, and I'd accumulated more of those money mindset beliefs and issues through experience throughout my life. So that sent me on a journey of self-development, and what I realised was, actually, I need to get better at this stuff. I need to get a handle on it. But then the second challenge came, because when I'd sorted out my money mindset and I'd worked on what was going on up in here and got some of those problems fixed, I was thinking differently, thinking like a wealthy person, therefore making decisions like a wealthy person. But I still didn't have a financial education. So although I was equipped mentally to receive more money and to earn more money, I didn't really have a savvy financial education to know what to then do with that money when I was accumulating it, to mean that it didn't run out or get spent badly. So that's where my second challenge came. Now, my first year that I made $1 million was probably the worst year of my life. And that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because I know a lot of people will be listening to this thinking, well, boo-hoo, poor you, that the first year you made $1 million was terrible. And I'd understand that if you judged what I've just said. But it really was for me, because it was the steepest learning curve I've ever had to have. Because I only realised that I'd made $1 million when my accountant rang to tell me how much my tax bill was and my VAT bill. I didn't have the money. I didn't even know I'd earned that much. I didn't know where it had gone either. I'd been so busy with my head down trying to earn more and develop skills and buy a house and 2 cars and go on holiday and live a good life. I'd been so busy doing all of that stuff that actually I'd got myself into a mess. And then that sent me on a new journey in self-development of financial mastery and education on, you know, I now know that if you're sat watching this and you're earning 2,000-3,000 a month, but you're still getting to the end of every month broke and fearful of it running out or not having enough, that won't change if you're earning 100 grand a month. In fact, I found my problems intensified. I found the more money I earned without a financial education and still not really mastered my mindset, the more fearful I became, the more I'd got to lose, the more intense those feelings were. So my biggest message for you guys tonight, before I go into some of my tips on these things, is that money doesn't solve your problems. Money doesn't give you peace of mind. Money isn't happiness. Money isn't stability. If you don't know what to do with it and you haven't got a handle on it mentally and with what you actually physically, practical steps that you take to do with it, if you don't have a handle on those two things, accumulating more will not fix the situation that you may find yourself in now, with the way you feel about it or what you do with it. It won't improve. It doesn't get any better. And I had to learn that the hard way. I'm really glad I did, because that means that I'm more equipped to help you guys and people like you not have to make the same mistakes as me. Because it took me years of piecing together information from books, online courses, different coaches, going to seminars, and I was like piecing it all together like a jigsaw, because there was nothing out there that just gave me both. You know, 2 things, an education and a fierce money mindset. That's all I wanted. There was nothing out there that gave me both things. And then came my light bulb moment. That's the challenge. That's the challenge that I've overcome and mastered, that I can help other people with. And that's now what I do as a women's wealth strategist. And that's where the company that I formed was founded, with that idea, and that's the Women's Wealth Academy. So I'm honoured today to give you some tips on some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I've had to get over myself, and everything I'm going to go through with you today, I am absolutely guilty of doing. So this isn't me sitting here saying, you need to do it like this, this, and this, and I've always got it right, because it couldn't be further from the truth. I have got all of these things wrong, and that's why I'm confident that I know how to help you guys overcome them. So what I'm about to share with you will be great for you if you find yourself in a little bit of a mess financially and feeling fearful, having a scarcity mindset, worrying about money, worrying about what you're spending, worrying about your earning potential and how you can earn more, worrying about money running out or being taken from you, or having that heart palpitation when a bill comes through. All of that stuff is what I want to help you with tonight. So let me just start by sharing with you my bigger vision for this journey, this mission that I'm on. Because when I look back, I can see that a lot of the mistakes I had to make could have been avoided had I have had a better education on this stuff in school, or at least in college. Our education system doesn't cater for these things right now. We don't learn at school how to develop a great mindset around money. We don't learn how to be in control of our finances when we're at school, or the best ways to earn money. We don't learn this stuff that I'm going to go through with you tonight. So my big vision is to change that and kind of do what Jamie Oliver did in the UK with school dinners and nutrition, but for the subject of money. So I really hope you'll support me in that journey, and you can do that by just telling me you're behind me. You know, find me on Facebook, drop me an email, a message, and just tell me what you think of that. You know, if your children were going to school and there was a class on money mindset and finance, would you want them in that class? Am I on the right track? Because it's really nice to get feedback from other people and what they think. Okay, so let me just start with my first, I guess, tip around how you can start to master the mental game when it comes to money. And in a nutshell, my advice to you would be, work harder on your subconscious than you do in the actual skills that you need to run whatever business you're in. Because when I decided I was going to be an entrepreneur and I was going to earn all this money, what I did was focused mainly on the physical tasks that I needed to do to accumulate money, the income producing activities. How do I make more sales? How do I speak to people better? How do I do this, and this? And I completely tunnel visioned on that stuff. Now the problem with that is it doesn't fix what's in your subconscious. Now, when I'm talking about the subconscious, this is how I like to describe it, because it makes it super simple and easy, and for me it's the way I always remember it. If you work from a computer system, mobile phone, tablet, there's like a backup storage system embedded into that piece of equipment that you probably won't know exists. So you can think you've deleted files, you can think that you've been able to just search for something or do something on that computer without it leaving a record of what you've done, or you could maybe delete it from your junk and it would get rid of it completely. But actually, anything you ever do on that computer will be able to be tracked and found. So if any of you decided to go out and commit a crime, which I'm sure you're not going to, but let's say you did, and the police came along and seized your computer for evidence, they would be able to find out everything you've done on that computer because it's all being stored somewhere. Now that's brilliant, because that's the reason that when you go onto Google and you start typing in a few words, the computer starts to, I guess, throw up things that you're probably going to be looking for, because it's gotten to know you based on the things you've done previously. So it's there to make things easier for you. Computers are really smart, but they're not as smart as our subconscious, because our subconscious works in the exact same way, but better. So every experience you encounter around money, every conversation you have or listen to about money, every story that you get told about money or an association to it, every event that takes place around the subject of money, negative or positive, it's all being stored. Everything is, all of the time. Our subconscious is powerful beyond measure. It's storing everything, it's always listening, and it's doing it to serve you. So a lot of the time I hear people say things like, oh, I need to stop thinking like that. I need to stop my brain working like that. I'm sick of it. Like, I've always got these negative things going on in there, and it causes me to self-sabotage and do all this stuff that I just don't want to do. Very often you'll hear people saying, oh, I know what I need to do in business, but I just can't seem to do it. And that's because the subconscious knows what you're going to do before you've even done it. Because all that information that it's storing, it has a purpose. And its purpose is to make your life easier. To use all of that information so that you can make snapshot decisions, choices to act or not act, to take on a deal or not take on a deal, to work with someone or not, or to attend a seminar or not. It's forming all of these beliefs and experiences so that it can just help you make a decision like that. And that's the most powerful part of your brain. You think you're consciously making decisions all the time, but a good proportion of it comes from what your subconscious has already decided that you're going to do based on the previous stuff that's stored in there. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to battle with your subconscious or dislike it because it's making you make all these awful choices. Because actually it's brilliant, and you can turn it into your best friend when you know how to handle it. Some of the ways that you'll see your subconscious in action in a really cool way. For example, one of the ways I noticed the other day, and I'm always spotting things like this and it always makes me smile. James and I, my husband, we were driving quite late at night for a cheeky McDonald's. Don't judge me, I don't eat that sort of food all the time, but on this particular night I was like, I'm having a Macca's, I really fancy it, let's go and get a Macca's. So we got in the car and James was blasting the radio and this song came on. And he said to me, oh my God, do you remember this? Do you remember this? And he turned it up a little bit louder. And initially I thought, it rings a bell, not really sure, don't know if I remember it. And then before I knew it, I was singing along. And I knew like pretty much every single word to this song because that information had been stored in my subconscious until I needed to use it. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I've just pulled that out there and used it. It's amazing. And also when you maybe drive to work, if you do the same route every day to work or somewhere else that you go on a regular occasion, you can get in the car and pretty much get there on autopilot without even realising how you've got there. You've been thinking about something completely different and you arrive and you're like, geez, how did I get here? And that's that just journey, that route imprinted in your subconscious. So it's really cool and it's really powerful. And when we use it to our advantage in the subject of money, it makes you unstoppable. You see, wealthy people think differently about money. We know that, right? They make different decisions instinctively. They feel instinctively different about money. Therefore, they attract more of it. You can do that too. It's just about getting rid of some of the stuff in there that perhaps isn't serving you. Some of the old negative beliefs, some of the conversations, experiences you were privy to, it's just clearing them out and then filling it with stuff that will get you working from the same like computer back office system as a wealthy person. Because if you're working from the same subconscious system as a wealthy person, you're going to get the same results. You're going to be thinking the same, making the same decisions, feeling the same. So I want to help you do that a little bit with just a couple of tips on how you can do it. The first is what I call the mind cleansing process. And for this, you want to do it when you're on your own. Allow about an hour for it because you want to have no disruptions. You don't want to be on a time scale. You want to really give yourself this time. And you sit quietly with a notebook and I want you to empty your head of anything at all that you can remember, right back from way back when you were little, right up until the present day, that is a negative association, story, experience, conversation about money. So it could be that you've got a little bit of a story like mine, someone that you grew up with that you absolutely loved and really looked up to that didn't value money and said some negative things about money. Maybe you were told things as a child like money doesn't grow on trees, which gave you a belief that it was hard to make money. Maybe you were stolen from, passed up for a promotion that you really deserved, therefore didn't get paid your worth. Whatever you can think of that has ever happened to you around the subject of money, I want you to just dump all that stuff on paper. Get it all out there, write it all down. Take as long as you need and do it as many times as you need to. And when you've got those things on paper, we're then going to tell the subconscious to let them go. Because the subconscious, it obeys pretty much everything you tell it to do. It's very obedient, but a lot of the time we don't tell it what to do. It just rules our life, whereas we can completely be in control of it. So then you're going to go back when you've got it all on paper and read over each experience, anything you've written down, read it to yourself, and then for each one you're just going to give your subconscious a command on that experience. And you're just going to say, thank you very much for this experience. Thank you for storing it for me to keep me safe. But I no longer need this experience in my subconscious anymore. We can release it. Cancel, clear, delete. Cancel, clear, delete. And I say it 3 times, cancel, clear, delete. And then scribble out that experience. Move on to the next one. Thank you. Thank you for this experience. Thank you for storing it for me to keep me safe. But I no longer need this anymore. It no longer serves me. You can release it now. Cancel, clear, delete. Cancel, clear, delete. And I want you to do that through every single one, no matter how long it takes. And what you'll find is you feel lighter somehow. You feel lighter, you feel more positive, more optimistic instantly. And it's because you've suddenly offloaded some of that junk that was in there that you just didn't need. And now there's room for you to fill it up with more stuff that will serve you and will contribute to you becoming a wealthy woman. How do you do that? Well, there's lots and lots of ways. The first one is abundance meditations and putting that into your daily routine. And you can go onto YouTube and find some great abundance meditations that you can listen to. Find someone that suits you, where you can actually stand their voice, you actually like listening to them and they engage you. And I like to do it morning and night. So first thing in the morning, last thing at night. They don't have to be long meditations. If you're not used to meditating and you get frustrated because your mind can't clear, don't worry about that stuff. It's not even important. Your subconscious is listening. Even if your conscious brain's going, oh, what shall I have for dinner? Your subconscious is taking in that information, and that's the most important thing. So you just want to reprogram it every day with either positive affirmations or abundance meditations. And then it's about protecting it going forward. And the biggest thing we need to protect it from is ourselves, funnily enough, because we're awful with some of the things that we say about money because it becomes a habit. So, for example, what I never want you to do again is go into a shop, pick something up and go, look at the price tag and go, oh, I can't afford that. No, we're not going to tell your subconscious that you can't afford something. We're not going to tell the universe that you can't afford something, because the messages that need to be sent in here and out there to the universe is that you are abundant, you are wealthy, you are unstoppable. And I only want those things to come out of your mouth. That doesn't mean that you go and spend frivolously, but it's just about changing the way you think and communicate that message. So rather than saying, I can't afford that, say, I'm going to choose to save. I'm choosing to be savvy with my money. I'm choosing to look after my money so that more comes into my life. It's a very slight change, but it makes you feel different. It puts you in a state of in control rather than a lack of. And that's really, really important. What else could you do? You could train your reactions, because where focus goes, energy flows. What we focus on, we get more of. We know that. Now, bear with me on this analogy, but you've almost got to train your subconscious like a dog, okay? Now, I've had a bit of experience with this recently because I had a new Alaskan Malamute puppy for my birthday in August, and they are a handful. If any of you know the breed, you'll know they're extremely stubborn, very, very intelligent, more intelligent than you would like, know how to wind you up, and they do things to test you, and quite a difficult dog to train. But I've been training her like I would any other breed, and that's by giving loads of focus and attention and praise to the things that I want to see more of, the behaviours that I want to see more of. Like, if she pees on the carpet, I don't go ballistic and put loads of attention and focus on that. I say nothing, pick her up, put her outside in the place that I want her to go. When she does go outside on her own, I go ballistic, loads of praise, loads of energy, loads of focus, because that's exactly what I want to see more of. When she comes back, when I call her, when we're out walking, loads of focus, loads of praise, loads of energy. When she runs away, she gets ignored. I don't talk to her, I don't acknowledge it, I just pick her up, put her in the car and the walk's over. So the way we train our dog is the way we train our subconscious when it comes to money. You know, a bill comes through the door, and it might be a bit high and it might not be what you expected and it's not a great situation. I'm not telling you to open it and pretend that it's a check, because that doesn't work for me, because my brain goes, no, it's not. It's a bill. I can see it's a bill. And then you end up with this internal battle. We don't want you to battle with yourself because it's exhausting. You can end up getting to the end of the day and have achieved nothing other than this huge battle with yourself, and you're knackered. and you haven't been productive. So I don't want you to enter into this battle. It's just about loads of energy on the things you want more of and ignoring the things you don't. So bill comes through the door. The worst thing you can do is put off paying it. And this is what people will do with the scarcity mindset quite often. Bill comes through, invoice comes through, oh, I need to pay that, oh, I'll do it next week. Because parting with that money is like, oh, but I want to put it off. Just deal with it. The money's there, deal with it, pay for it. Put the bill away, don't think about it again. Start focusing on what you do want, and that's more money coming in. So if you find a penny on the floor, pick it up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Loads of praise and attention and gratitude for this penny, because that's a sign for you from the universe that more is coming your way. So show your appreciation, open yourself up, ready to receive more. Where focus goes, energy flows. Also, another tip for you on this of filling your subconscious with the right things is something that is about the way you feel. So we anchor certain emotions and feelings onto certain things. And if you've had quite a poor money mindset leading up to this point, that has probably anchored itself onto money as a thing. So you'll know this if you feel fearful when you feel fearful when you see money. So like when I used to see money, like my husband would open his wallet or I'd open my purse, I'd actually see money. It wasn't a good feeling attached to it. It was negative. It was a fear of losing it, a lack of mentality, or wanting to hoard it away and not spend it because there's not enough in the world. It was all negative association. And you want to change that to positive association. So I started to leave money around so I could train myself on this. So I'd leave like a £5 in the drawer, a £10 in the car, a couple of quid somewhere else. So that every time I saw money, I'd make a point of going, oh, I love you. I absolutely love money. I love money. Love it, love it, love it. I love you. And it sounds crazy, but like having a conversation with the money about how much I loved it. But sooner or later, every time I saw money, those feelings would instinctively come back, like feelings of joy and abundance and love for the thing that I've decided to train myself to love and not hate and fear. And that is transformational in the subject of your subconscious, but also the messages you're sending out there to the universe, the vibration that you put yourself on. Now, if you're in a shop and you're handing over money and you think, oh, when you hand it over and you get that bit of anxiety in your chest at the thought of handing over that money, change that to plenty more where that came from. Plenty more where that came from. I still do all of these things now. Never stop. You're never done. The mistake a lot of people make is when they get into a good place financially and they're earning more and they're feeling control, they stop doing the things that got them there. It's about recognising you're a constant work in progress. So just the other day I had like a day of huge outgoings. So I'd got some seminars to pay for, I was paying for my coach, I was paying for lots and lots of other things. Some self-development seminars I'm going to next year, so I've got to fly around the world for some of them, and it was just like invoice after invoice after invoice. And for a moment I felt myself go, oh, this doesn't matter how much you earn, you're never going to like paying out unless you train yourself, and it will always rear its ugly head a little bit. So I was like, oh, that feels a bit uncomfortable. I sat there and I'm like, I am so savvy, look at everything I'm investing in, how grateful I should feel for investing in these things. And then I start doing this, invest, develop, invest, develop, invest, develop. I'm savvy, I'm winning, I'm abundant, and getting super, super excited about what I was paying for, and then feeling so grateful for how the things I was paying for were going to serve me. So you fill yourself up with gratitude, fill yourself up with feelings of excitement and abundance, and it begins to become a habit. And all of a sudden, you're working from the same computer system as super, super wealthy, successful people. You're instinctively feeling different. You instinctively got more motivation. You feel unstoppable. You feel fearless in the pursuit of money because you feel different. And you're making different choices, decisions instinctively. And that's when things start to really, really change. The other thing that really changes and makes money easy to make, effortless, is when you're on the right mission, when you're in alignment with your soul's purpose. Now I believe that every single amazing woman that is alive today for a reason, living in this time, this age, right now, because we're living in a phenomenal time. A time where there's a movement, there's a difference in the way people are doing business. And I don't just mean the way they're doing business because of technology and things like that. I mean because we're doing it from the heart, leading from the heart, high vibration leadership. And that's what I'm all about. And I believe that you guys that are in business now and that are living today have a mission. And I don't know what that mission is because it's unique to each and every one of you. You've all got a unique brilliance inside you. And you know when you're on the right path because everything is just effortless. You look up at the clock and you think, oh my God, I've not even eaten or had a wee. And I've just been sat here working. And it's just, the time's just gone like that. And I've achieved so much. You know, you bounce out of bed in the morning and like, come on, ready to smash your goals because you're on purpose and you're in alignment. And when you're on purpose and in alignment with your soul's purpose, the thing that you were born to do, the thing that runs through every fibre of your being, when you're in alignment with that, everything just happens. It's easy to make money. The universe wants you to be wealthy. It wants you to be happy. But a lot of us spend far too much time in jobs just to pay the bills, doing things that we think we should do because other people tell us that we should do them, doing things because we think about money too much. So I can remember growing up, when someone asked me, what do you want to do when you're older? I used to say, I want to be on stage. I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that I wanted to kind of be on stage. I wanted to be in the limelight a little bit. I was a bit of a show off when I was little. And I wanted to be up on stage. And I thought that might be acting or something like that. I didn't know. I knew that that's what I wanted. And people used to say to me, what, like an actress? And then look at me like I was a dreamer. And then they'd say things like, oh, that's really cutthroat though. You probably won't make any money. Loads of actresses just don't make any money. So maybe have a plan B. They were already setting me up to fail. They were instilling into me that that's not going to happen. It's going to be hard. Don't bother. And what's really sad about that is far too many people get that message. Oh, don't go into that because there's no money in that. There's money in everything. Trust me on this. If you just follow doing what makes you happy, what you were born to do, what feels right, and we all know that feeling. I call it my higher self, but it's like this inner knowing, isn't it? Women always call it women's intuition, but I believe we all have it actually. It's like that inner knowing of what's right, what's wrong, what should I do, what shouldn't I do. You always know the answer. You always know the answer. You're guided almost by this internal compass that tells you, yeah, do that, or no, that doesn't feel right. And as long as we all just follow that and allow it to pan out the way it should, good things happen. Good things always happen. Now, a lot of people, when I teach this, on a one-to-one basis, when I'm coaching or in seminars, a lot of people freak out and they're like, oh God, I don't feel like that about my current business. Does that mean I shouldn't be doing it? And then they start panicking that, oh, I've wasted all this time and maybe this isn't what I'm meant to do. And that's not actually what it's about. Because it could be aligning what you're meant to do and incorporating it into that business. It could be doing what you're doing now, but also following this other path as well. It doesn't mean you've got to throw your arms up and go, I've got to quit this business, it's not what I'm meant to be doing, and then go off searching for what it is you're meant to be doing. I'm not suggesting that, but it's definitely worth considering some points. So things like, if I was to ask you just a few questions now to make you think about maybe what you should be doing and where you should be putting your focus and time. So when you were little, what did you love doing and that came absolutely naturally to you? So I had to ask my mum this question. So I went to my mum and I said, Mum, it actually came about when I was deciding to write my first book. And I just landed a book deal. And I went to my mum and I said, Mum, I'm going to be writing a book. Can you believe it? Me, I'm writing a book. And she was like, yeah. She wasn't shocked at all. She was like, yeah, I totally believe that. Yeah. I knew you'd do something like that, even when you were little. How did you know? And she said, well, you used to love to write. Like you'd sit for hours and hours and hours and you'd just write. And when I asked you what you were doing, you'd tell me, I'm writing a book. I'm writing another book today, Mum. You were always writing. She also said that I used to sit in front of the mirror. This is quite funny. I'd sit in front of the mirror at home in my bedroom and I'd give talks about things to my audience that was in the mirror. So I'd be putting the world to right with my talks and I'd spend hours perfecting these talks. And she'd come in and go, Michelle, what are you doing? And I'd be like, I'm just giving a talk. Like, okay, shut the door. And look, she said, how funny is it that, I mean, look what I'm doing now. How funny is it that that's what I now get paid to do? My zone of genius, if you like. You find your zone of genius, the thing that lights you up, the thing that comes naturally and effortlessly to you. Ask your parents if you need to, what did I love doing when I was little? What would you catch me doing that was maybe a bit quirky, or what would I spend hours and hours doing? And they'll tell you some of these things. Write them down, write those things down, because they could be a real clue and indication to what your life's purpose, what your path is meant to be. Think about things that you do for free. What would you do for free? If no one was going to pay you for it, just purely because you absolutely love it, what would you do? Write that down. If you were leaving school again and you were just 16 and you know exactly what you know now and you can make completely different choices, what would you do? What would you change? What path would you take instead? What are most of your books about? What do you like to read? What could you talk about all night without knowing where the time went with a group of friends? What would you get out of bed at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning for? You know, what are you passionate about? Start thinking about all these things, getting it all on paper, and look for patterns. Can you incorporate something with all these things into your current career? Now, I work with some business coaches and they say to me, oh, I hate doing videos. I hate doing videos. I've always hated doing videos. I hate looking at myself. Love doing audios though. I don't do audios. Be the best at it. Do what you do and do it well. Do what you do and do it so well that no one can touch it. You're just brilliant at it. Do that. Do those things and do them really, really well. That would be my advice to you. And don't worry about how am I going to get paid for that though? Where's the money going to come from? Don't worry about that. The universe will take care of that. Just follow what lights you up. My last point that I want to touch on before I leave you, because I've talked a lot already, is get savvy. Get really, really financially savvy, because as I mentioned before, you know, these things will equip you to earn more. Getting this in check will equip you to earn more, absolutely, and feel more motivated and inspired and in alignment. But when you are earning more, the only way to look after it, get money working for you, is to be financially savvy. Know where to invest, where not to invest, what works, what doesn't work, how to develop multiple income streams, passive income streams. Get to know this stuff. Get educated on this stuff, because you want a huge asset column that pays for your outgoings every month before you've even started doing any work. Passive income streams coming in from multiple sources effortlessly. And you want to be in control of your finances, because as I said before, if you're not in control now and you don't know where your money goes now and you can't look after 3 grand, you won't look after 30 grand a month either. So start now. A great place to start is by getting everything on a spreadsheet. Now, if you're anything like me, I freaking hate spreadsheets. I hate anything with numbers and stuff like that. And I'm a financial master. But I can't stand numbers. It's not about being a number whiz. It's about being in control, taking your control back over money, because I would guess that a lot of you are where I was and feel like money controls you. It controls your thoughts, the things that you can do, the things that you can't do, the things that you can buy, the things you can't buy. You want to get your control back over money. You're the boss of the money. It's not the boss of you. So how do you do that? First of all is knowing how it is. You know, Tony Robbins has a great saying, you can't go into the garden saying there are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, when the garden's full of weeds. You've got to identify the weeds and rip them out. And it's the same with your finances. You can't lie in bed doing these abundance meditations and going, I'm a money magnet, and expect it to just draw to you with no action and without knowing what you need to change. So getting in control of your finances is about knowing what you need to change. So there's a wealthy blueprint, if you like, a financial blueprint that wealthy people follow. And a lot of us that aren't in the know don't know what that is. I didn't know what that was. A lot of us will get our money every month and it just goes out on this, and this. You get to the end of the month and think, great, broke again. How did that happen? And it's because we're not working to any sort of financial blueprint, a system. So here's what it should be. 40, 30, 20, 10. 40, 30, 20, 10. Write that down, because this will serve you for the rest of your life, no matter how much money you earn. 40% of your total household income should go on your bare necessity bills, your house bills, your utilities, your car payments, the things that are set in stone and you have to pay, like the bare necessities. 40% should go on the bare necessities. 30% should go on other expenses. So things like your food shop, your petrol in your car, the things that you need to invest in every month for your business, other expenses that kind of have to happen, but they're not like set in stone bills, if you like. You can manipulate the figures a little bit more with those. 20% should go on savings and debt repayment. Debt repayment first before you save. So if you're in debt and you're paying interest, you want to get that gone as quickly as possible and then start saving 20%. But 20% of your income should go on debt repayment and savings. And then 10% for fun, letting your hair down, going on holiday, socialising. So if you earn £3 grand a month, you've got 300 quid to have fun every month. And so it forms. If you earn 10 grand a month, you've got way more to go and have fun with. You can go on nice holidays. You'll live in a nicer house because your 40% will be bigger than someone's that's earning 3 grand. But that blueprint stays exactly the same. And every month you're investing, you're saving, you're having fun, your bills are getting covered. And you can use it as a guideline for the rest of your life. The first step though is knowing what is it currently. So getting a spreadsheet and going, right, this is my incomes. If you've got one or two, think about adding to that, because the more income streams, the more stability. You know, if you've got 20 income streams and you lose one or two, no big deal, no one died. If you've got 2 income streams and you lose one or two, major disaster, crisis. So the more income streams, the more stability. So put in your income streams. How much does that come to every month, roughly? I know it might change if you're in business, but roughly. How much do I spend on my bare necessity bills? 40%. What is the actual percentage? And type that in. Okay, I'm running at 53%, for example. Too high. 13% too high. I need to bring that down. What can I do? Well, you can look at, call your mortgage company. Are you on the best deal? A lot of people take out their initial mortgage and they don't shop around much after that. So could you shop around and bring those payments down? Have you shopped around for your gas, electric, your utilities and made sure that you could probably get them cheaper and bring that percentage down, 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 down? Are you driving a car that really you shouldn't be driving with the income that you're on? Why don't you trade it in and get a cheaper car and use it as an incentive as when you increase your income to get a better car? Start bringing that to 40%. It is totally and utterly within your control. I guarantee there's going to be things you can cut out, like the big Sky package that you might have, but you're a busy entrepreneur and you never watch TV, so get it gone. Have Netflix instead, 7 quid. You know, there's things that you can do. First step is getting it down on paper. Suddenly when people do this process, they relax. They think it's going to be really scary, they resist it, they don't want to do it, and they do it and they're like, okay, this is what it is, but now I'm in control and I can change it. I can manipulate these figures. I can set goals based on what I want it to be in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to bring it all in alignment. And suddenly this blueprint just serves you forever. So I really hope that helps you, because it massively, massively helped me. Now, some things for you to learn more about, because I'd love to talk to you more, but I don't want to bore you. And I've been given, I think, 45 minutes an hour to share with you tonight, so I don't want to run over that. But I wanted to give you guys a gift and something you could take away with you so that you can learn more about these subjects. So you can visit www.michellestonhill.com, and at the top of that page, that home page, you'll see it says download my free audio. Now it's a 5-part women's wealth series, audio series. And that is going to come out to you straight away. So it's instant access when you apply for it. And it's going to help you to start delving into some of these subjects that little bit more, so that you can develop a fearless money mindset and get in control of your finances and not have to worry anymore. That's my goal for you. Thank you for listening, guys. Take care.